a lot of turmoil is happening in the economy here and abroad. What impact, what are the two or three things CIOs should be thinking about?
Okay. From a CIO perspective, every time there's an economic ripple, it's usually the CIO who gets hit first for budget reductions and cuts because they're a very clear target on operating expense. So in fact, what CIOs should start to prepare for is to really to focus on making sure the value proposition is clear and really communicating the fact that at times of economic crisis, if you need to get operating leverage in a company, IT is the one place that you should invest to help restructure. So IT is probably the key lever to help companies get through the crisis, but right now it's the key focal point of getting hit over the head to reduce.
A big problem that companies have is they look at IT as a cost, not as a value.
Right, so IT has been on the wrong side of the equation, especially if you look at the financial services firms are the best ones to look at, because if you look at the 10Ks and 10Qs and you look at the operating expenses of a company, it has a compensation line, then usually the next line is communications and technology. So they've gotten themselves in second rank on the hit list. So it's real complex in terms of that. So they're positioned as a cost instead of a value. And people have known that for 40 years. So that's not the key side that I think that's interesting. I think the more important thing is how do you end up turning that around. And in fact, the CIOs have to learn to speak the language of operating leverage and be able to show how investments in technology and more automation can bend the operating curve down, which increases margin and tight revenue times.
Okay, you're a metrics expert. Are CIOs using metrics wrong and trying to convince their bosses what to invest in?
CIOs, I think, this will sound terrible, have degraded their own jobs. They either defend budgets or produce budgets, and they usually don't talk about the value. Once in a while, they'll talk about strategy and stuff like that. They really have to get what my friend Peter Weil calls at MIT, their companies to a state of IT savvy. Their real job is to get the business environment with a full understanding of technology economics. So these things they're always defending are just generally understood, and the companies will understand the new tech economics.
What do CIOs need to do for themselves to educate themselves to be able to do this?
I think the key thing for CIOs in terms of business economics is they need to step back for a moment and get a clear business strategy map. They have to answer the question how the company makes money, what are the business strategies to grow revenue or protect revenue or close competitive gaps, and almost build a push-pin map of where technology fits. And they need to get that map in their mind, understand how that map is changing, and always talk about things in that base plate, not talk about things in terms of virtualization or this other stuff. Bring it back to business strategy, bring it home, and make sure the stuff is aligned.
Okay, thanks, Howard.
You're welcome.